Hi guys, it's Joy, and yeah, so I think once again I might have been wrong. Shane has fully come out and admitted he's a narcissist. So my mind is blown. And I want you to know a lot of this is leaking from a continued non-stop series of videos that Trisha Paytas is putting on her TikTok about her, do you call it a music career? I don't really know what she does to call it a music career. It's not even a diss. I don't know what it is. She does covers of stuff and sometimes makes some original songs. Good on her, right? That's what she wants to do. And she is talking nonstop about Shane Dawson. And it looks like a lot of people have been questioning it, and it looks like the rumors are true. Shane has come out and admitted he's actually a narcissist, which blows my mind. So what I want to do is I want to go through these TikTok videos and then wait to the end, because I'm going to show you the exact evidence of Shane admitting he's a narcissist, and in my opinion, why much of what he said is a lie, and we shouldn't really take his word too seriously. We can't trust him with anything. Let's take a look.
POV, you're the toxic friend, and I'm trying to end it. Oh, you made up rumors about my sexual health? Bye. Oh, you called me a sociopath for no reason? Never talking to you again. Oh, you're bringing up my mental health issues? To use them against me? Screw you. Oh, you're calling me a pathological liar? Don't need you in my life. Oh, you're telling me to just get over some trauma? F off. Oh, you're telling me you didn't believe me when I told you something and I've never lied to you ever in the course of our friendship? Go to hell. Yeah, I thought about it, but that's when he was like a friend and I was mourning the loss of someone that I thought was, an empath, compassionate. I mean, a human at its basic level. But when I realized that he's literally the spawn of Satan, talking shit about me for 12 years, or at least 5, and who knows what else, making up lies about my STDs, my pathological liarness, calling me a sociopath. I changed my mind. He might be the most toxic person I've ever met, the scariest person I've ever met, two-faced, and I blindly defended him and his disgusting behavior, actions, and jokes. I regret it, so I'm not gonna stop undoing that. You know who hides? Cowards. You know who stay quiet? Guilty people. And if you do both, you do the math, baby. The Shane thing, again, because we open up about everything. And when I say everything, like his childhood trauma, he knows everything more than my own parents. And so when he's like, he
didn't know if what you were saying was true.
But I just have never lied to him. And he is I think the one person I thought knew I told him the truth with everything. He never questioned anything. If I told him something, he took that as truth because I never lied to him. My mom and my dad I've lied to, so I get their trust issues, but I've never lied to him, so it just kind of sucks to lose that person because and to also just think that I lied about this of all the things I told you, you're just I didn't choose to believe that. It just felt and then I thought maybe that's real. Maybe he didn't believe me because people do say I'm a liar online, and that's why I don't know. I used to didn't open up about stuff. I'll just keep talking. If people think I'm lying, whatever. It's in
my opinion, what happened is that.
Okay guys, note time. Let's break down some of these videos. So here we go. Trisha talks about rumors, apparently, that Shane said she has STDs and herpes and all of these things. She talks about them like it is actual fact, but the fact is we have no evidence that that's happened. All we have are some possible voice memos that we've never heard and that are not released from somebody called Charles Gross and Peter Monn, the fake YouTube psychotherapist. He is faked being a psychotherapist. This is not a joke. Go check out my video. And him just saying, this is what Shane told me. This is what I heard, which take it with so many grains of salt. Don't even do that. Don't take it with salt because you're going to dehydrate when it's Peter Monn. And that's not me being shady. I am being honest with you about how some of these people act. I know. I've dealt with them. Many other YouTubers have dealt with them. It's not just me saying this. So she talks about these things as though they are direct fact. We don't have any evidence for what she is saying. I would love, on the one hand, I would love to hear these voice memos. On the other hand, you know what? The whole point is, it's not our business. She should have kept this between her and Shane, but that would make her a fully functioning adult or somebody who wants to be a mature person. She lives in this weird alternate internet reality where growing up and maturing doesn't have to happen, because as long as we are popular or we have enough clout in front of people, we can kind of get away with anything. And the more chaotic she is, the more money and attention she gets. And that's what's important to her. So, and then she says Shane uses her mental health issues against her. Where's that evidence? Where did he do that? She says Shane called her a pathological liar. No evidence for that. And she's also admitted to being one. So, but then, even though she's admitted to being a pathological liar, then says she doesn't anymore. But how do we trust that if she's a pathological liar? Just, again, some logic. I'm not even saying what is or isn't. Just throwing things out. Says Shane told her just to get over her trauma, but we don't have those text messages. And from what I remember her saying, that is wildly incorrect. She said Shane texted her, let's come over, let's do Postmates, let's talk, let's forget about it. Because that was over text, that could mean 10 different things. She did not give him the opportunity of a phone call before she thought, you know what? Let's go ahead and just continue to blast him online, because that's respectful. When two friends are at odds or they're miscommunicating or one friend is hurt by the other, I want you guys to know the rules of society now. Now, if you go to like a real psychologist, not like Peter Monn, but somebody who can really do therapy with a person, they're going to give you different tools. Like you're going to want to, don't react, take a deep breath, count to 10, don't get reactive, stay calm. If you're triggered, remove yourself from the triggering situations. Several things that Trisha's even talked about her therapist telling her to do, but she doesn't do for several reasons in different areas because she gets money and attention for it. Let's not listen to like real psychotherapists and psychologists. Let's go with the new rules of the internet. If anybody ever does anything that you dislike, you find offensive, that's hurtful, or that you assume is such, you need to go online and scream and cry and play victim as loud as you can to get as much attention as you can, and then put out as much personal information about that person and ruin their lives. So I hope we can all live by the new rules of the internet. Oh, but that doesn't make sense? Well, of course it doesn't. And I'll hear people say, yeah, but Trisha's a celebrity. So? Does that mean she shouldn't be a mature adult and she should just keep being destructive? And that's the sad thing. I've heard people bring up her mental illness. I get it. She's got mental illness issues. I'm not knocking that. But Trisha has a ton of money and a lot of people to help her, and she's got a ton of tools to deal with these things. She talks about it. And she doesn't. Many times from what we see, she doesn't. She just decides, I'm going to go in my destructive lane. She knows better. She has better tools and decides, I'm going to go ahead and do this anyway. I have a problem with that. And I can hear people, I've heard the comments and people say, you don't understand BPD, we can't control it. People who have BPD, I have a friend who had severe BPD that's gotten out of it. And we've talked in detail about this because we both had these issues growing up. I was never diagnosed with anything, but I came from a family of very just reactive women. I mean, it was really bad. It was abusive. And so that's how I learned to deal with things. I would take everything until I exploded. And that's how everybody was, except in my family, it was more just everybody exploding. And I was just trying to take in and be peacemaker. It was not very fun. I can tell you that. And in talking to my friend said, you have to go into yourself and figure out, why am I reacting so strongly? And sometimes there's not even necessarily a reason. Sometimes these are learned behaviors. Sometimes there are chemical issues going on. Every person is different. But she's told me, I went into myself and I said, regardless of what's happening, I have to have enough love for the people around me to get an extreme amount of self-control to utilize the tools that the therapists say that are just out there for people like me when we get triggered, to step back and not be destructive to the people I love. I'm not saying it's not hard. And I know there are varying degrees of every illness, whether or not it's mental or physical. But if Trisha has all of this money and all this access to people, what's stopping her? And I'll tell you what it is. She's surrounded by enablers. Klein is an enabler. And the more I watch that situation, I said that from the beginning with Dr. Drew, these people are literally profiting off of her getting triggered and chaotic. That's what makes the fun show. That's what makes the show so much fun, is watching Trisha get triggered and get chaotic. They don't respect her, and she knows that. On some level, I think she tries to convince herself they do, but she knows that. As she said before, and I've said this repeatedly, but I really want to stress this. She says one of her idols is Anna Nicole, and she loves Anna Nicole, and she really resonates with her. Because Anna Nicole, when filming her series, people would go up to her and say, you know, people are being mean to you, and they are disrespecting you, and they're treating you horribly. And Anna would say, yeah, but as long as I'm getting paid. Trisha allows herself to get disrespected for money, but then she also blows up and erupts because that is not healthy. And something in her is saying this behavior that you're allowing people to do to you for your lifestyle is not healthy. She gets at odds with that, and then we have explosions. And who gets the money? Trisha gets money, and Ethan. And right now she is marrying into a family of people. I don't know anything about Moses, but at least, you know, her brother and sister-in-law, they are exploiting her and her issues for money rather than wanting to help her. If you guys watched Ethan Klein recently, the H3H3, the frenemies episode, the last one that came out, Ethan was like stirring the pot and just trying to get as much gossip as he could out of her because he saw dollar signs. It was so apparent and it was disgusting. And look, I'm not trying to put people down. I'm telling you, this is what I was observing. It's what I've observed before. And I said, when she had that I quit blow up, like, you know, everybody forgot a couple months ago, I said she has to go inside of herself and she has to find that self-love and self-worth to say, I'm worth more and I demand to be treated with respect, and that I have the talents to be able to make the money that I want or have the lifestyle I want to be able to get there without having to be disrespected. And you know what? Sometimes that means losing stuff. Sometimes that means losing projects or business or endorsement for a while to change yourself and your brand. But at the end of the day, to be a healthy person, isn't it worth it? Sorry, little side note. I wanted to talk about that for a second because that's some stuff that I've seen. Yeah, she says Shane told her just to get over her trauma. And again, where's the evidence except for Trisha talking? And it says, someone wrote, Trisha, you said you wanted to move on and make fun TikToks, but you're dragging Shane. And then she says, real sarcastically, she says, yeah, she thought about it, but that's when Shane was a friend. No, she said she blocked Shane and distanced herself when she started crap talking. So as she was crap talking and still defending, she said, I'm done. So no, that's untrue. That's a lie. She says, yeah, I thought about it, but that was when he was a friend. And I was mourning the loss of someone that I thought was compassionate and an empath and somebody who was a human being at the basic level. But then she realizes he's a spawn of Satan. And people get mad at me when I say, is this a BPD episode? Is this a narcissism trigger? Like, she goes from one extreme, Shane is just so wonderful on a pedestal, to he's not even a human being, he's the spawn of Satan, there is no soul in his eyes. These are all quotes from her. And we're all just like, yeah, this is healthy. Like, I don't understand. And even if Shane did things to her, how is this healthy? So I guess every celebrity is just supposed to ruin the lives of the people around them for money and attention because? I don't get it. I just don't get it. So then she says she realizes he's the spawn of Satan and crap talk her for 5 years, called her a sociopath and a pathological liar. First of all, we don't know if any of that is true. There is no evidence that's come out other than people talking, and at least one of those people I know is not credible. She's called herself a pathological liar. She has said that about herself. And then she says she changed her mind. He's the most toxic and scary person she's ever met. Two-faced, and she boldly defended him, blindly, and all of his disgusting behaviors and jokes. She regrets it, and she won't stop undoing that. Well, that's sad, Trisha, because we just have a video come out where you're touching all over a child's rear end and getting in his underwear. So if what Shane did isn't jokes, I guess we have to apply the same logic to you, girl. But because she's in popular favor, we're not going to. Shane got his cancellation card, but I guess until D'Angelo Wallace speaks up, she's not going to get hers. That's not a diss on D'Angelo. That's me being frustrated with watching how the mob operates. it's just frustrating to me. And then, okay, this one is real fun. She does this thing where she goes, the people who hide, they're cowards, and the ones that stay quiet are guilty people. Trisha, that's called being a respectful human being and being a mature adult. I hope Trisha never has legal issues. Because this girl, if she thinks that her weird fantasy internet life is real life, she's screwed. When I was getting sued, the company that sued me was not very smart. They kept doing stupid things and talking trash about me places and making themselves look very bad. You know what I did? I shut up. The only things I would talk about were things that my lawyer approved of or if I was reading court transcripts. And you know what happened? The judge, the federal judge, saw through all of what they were doing and the judge ruled in my favor every single time. And then some people were like, well, I'm not people who were invested in that. And I'll tell you guys a story and we'll do a fun story time one day about this. I'll provide receipts. We'll have some giggles because there's a lot of fun stuff to talk about with this former company. But when it comes to this situation, people would go, well, because I'm not talking, I'm hiding things. No, I'm being smart. I'm listening to the advice of my lawyer because whatever I say could be turned, twisted. I could end up saying too much. So I got quiet. You know what else? You know what else, guys? There are so many things you don't know about my life when I've opened up about traumas and abuses. Why? I'm an adult. And here's the thing. I could out some of my abusers, and I don't want to. I really don't want to. I want to believe that there is a second chance for everybody, including a lot of the friends who have just really done me dirty when I've really gone above and beyond for them. That happens to all of us, right? And at the same time, what I've chosen to do on YouTube is not what they chose. So they aren't aside from maybe like a couple I can think of. Oh, girl. They aren't out there trying to ruin my name and my reputation. Except for, there's literally one I can think of. I don't even want to bring her up because she's gross. And before I even put myself on YouTube, this girl, I could tell y'all stories. I don't even want to talk about it. She'd probably get excited from the attention because, unfortunately, she's somebody that, she's a talented person, but she's super insecure. And in her insecurity, she is insanely jealous. And I think she's already jealous enough that I would do something like this and be successful with it. Because she would never do it because she wouldn't have the courage because there's too much insecurity and she blames everybody else for her. It's one of those types of people, right? But my point is, most of the time, I don't attach a name to anybody. I really don't. I think I've attached my mother, my stepfather, my father. Other than that, I don't attach names. And it's because even though I went through horrific things, unless there was a reason for it, I try to be respectful of my past relationships. I told you about a guy I had a hard time getting over. Y'all don't know who it is. And I've had a lot of relationships. You guys don't know who it is. You probably will never know who it is. Because even if it ended badly, even if this person wasn't nice and kind of mistreated me, I still respect the person enough that I don't want to do any damage to his real life and his new life that has nothing to do with me. And it's one of those situations where our paths are most likely never going to cross again. Like that situation is done and over, right? That just happens. And, there's nothing wrong with that. If our paths did cross, I would think, I don't see how they would because I would have to, I just don't see how they would. But even if they did, it would just be polite and cordial and that's it, at least on my end. That's how I would act. And that's it, So it's interesting to me that Trisha has a hard time understanding and conceptualizing that just because somebody does you dirty or does you wrong, or in this case, she assumes that Shane has been this horrible person from a ton of miscommunication. And here's the thing. Maybe he has said things behind her back. I don't know. I'm going off of what we have, and we don't have evidence. And if she puts out evidence, she just shows she's a really crappy person who, in my opinion, probably didn't care too much to him to begin with to go ahead and put out all that private info. But Trisha's been doing this for a while. Do you guys just remember Sean Vanderwilt? Sean Vanderwilt, I think this was in 2016. Sean Vanderwilt dated Trisha and she outed him as being gay after things didn't work out, putting a ton of personal information out there, and he sued her. I don't know what happened with that lawsuit, and she was pretty mad that she got sued. But I'm kind of happy. I remember seeing that and going, good. She's got to get a hold of the fact that she's got a large audience and she needs to know how to not be destructive towards the people in her life and using her audience against them. And I can say, being a YouTuber who at one point was somewhat popular, I'm not anymore, and that's fine. I'll grow slowly, or I'll grow whatever pace I grow at. Because I don't do a lot of popular opinion, I'm not going to become a drama channel that blows up most likely, and that's fine, right? I get that. But from my first time around getting somewhat popular quickly, I mean, we could argue that, but there was a decent amount of growth. I mean, 65 plus thousand subs, I think, in 6 months. It's a pretty good amount of growth, right? And I know how to, I've done this before. Last channel I did, 100,000 subscribers in 3 months. I can build something quickly if I want to. But with this channel, I'm happy to take my time. And the thing is, in being a YouTuber, unless you have really grown up understanding YouTube culture, right? And the different genres and how to operate, it takes time. Not only is it a big adjustment, because I went on here thinking YouTube and YouTubers just acted like the real world. It's a very big adjustment period because I just didn't have any clue how it operated. And watching how awful people are, it's just the rules of the real world don't apply to the weird, illogical, fantasy, everybody stabbing you in the back to get attention and money rules that happen on YouTube. And it took me a while to understand it. And unfortunately, I probably could have figured it out quicker, but I was so sick, there was no way I could really even understand things and process things at that time. So I removed myself. I took the time to physically figure out what's wrong, get better, make myself better, figure out what I needed to learn. I've come back, and I'm not perfect, and I never will be, and I'm going to make mistakes. But I've tried to understand the lessons I learned before and apply them now, right? So here's for instance, I learned most of the people that are going to come at you on social media want something from you, even the viewers. Now, I don't mean that to be mean to you guys, but I mean the people who are super diligent to really reach out to me to want my time and attention. There's an agenda there. 9.7 times out of 10, and I hate saying that because I don't want to think that about people, but it is what it is. And I was way too open with everybody, and I had my DMs open. People message me. I couldn't respond because I can't respond to 100 people a day. They get mad at me, want to expose me because I'm a bad friend, even though I barely knew this person. So a few things like, and I removed myself from things. You can no longer contact me unless it's email. Like, I don't have any social media set up with the Joy channel except for the channel itself and an email, right? And I keep a big distance with my audience. There are things in terms of the information I give out about my personal life, I keep at a distance. I learned how to kind of deal with things and interact. And unfortunately, I look at the situation with Trisha, and Trisha's never done that and never taken that time. And let's be honest, why would she at this point? Why would she? She gets incentivized and money to continue to be chaotic and destructive to the people in her life. And now she's got a team of people who are cheering her on to be destructive, even though it's going to turn around and bite them once again at some point. So that's what I wanted to talk about. And that's what I wanted to bring up in this video. It's really frustrating to watch. And I think one of the frustrating things for me is to watch Trisha continuously do these behaviors, continuously be hurtful and destructive to the people in her life. And it seems like when I say she doesn't care, I know she has these the emotional swings where maybe she will at some point get really upset and cry, but she goes back and forth between being empowered and feeling good about being kind of mean and vindictive versus feeling guilty about it. And right now, she has nobody to keep her in a real check to be like, hey, maybe stop and back off of what you're doing, because at this point it looks like she's bullying Shane and she says she's not going to stop. I feel like I started out very team Trisha. I think what happened with her and hairbyjay is disgusting, and I will always stand by that. I started out really gung-ho. I am on her side. What's happened to her is awful. I don't agree with it. And I feel like it just hit me in the face like a ton of bricks. I could understand her bringing up Shane and questioning. I didn't like it, but I got it. My issue was she kept going and got meaner and meaner and meaner, and now it's been over a week of just nonstop Shane bashing on something that isn't his fault. What was his fault? What should he have done differently? So he should have dropped everything and ran over to her house, and we could argue that. We could argue the expectations of what he should have done as a friend, but I don't think anything he did warrants or deserves how she's acted, and that's just my opinion. The last thing I want to point out, guys, couple things. Trisha herself says she's a pathological liar. I want to pull up that clip so you can see it, because I like to, as much as I can, put out evidence. I want you to see the clip. Here it is. Now, again, she says, well, this hasn't been an issue since I've been younger. But if she's a pathological liar, how do we know she's not lying? And I'm not saying she is, I'm not saying she isn't, but I do want to say she has a history of lying. She admits that. A history of trolling. History of all those types of things. So how do we know if she's lying? And she has a history of exaggerating. Also, she's mad about the sociopathy and the narcissist comments and all that. You guys realize, and then she starts talking about Shane isn't an empath, he's actually a narcissist, he's a this, he's a that. Trisha admits to being diagnosed clinically as a narcissist. This is very telling. I want you to hear what she has to say.
Let me ask you this. Is there a moment in the future where you could unblock Shane and try to work it out? Because you guys did have such a nice friendship that I feel it's sad to... I don't know.
Wouldn't it be the
it's
same?
complicated.
Because to me, I trusted him with like more than stuff I told my family. So it's like I don't think I could trust him like that, because that was crazy to be like I don't know. It's that triggering to me is also like I know I have a lot of triggers, whatever. I'm like 32, but is when people say like they don't believe me, because when I was younger, like my like teachers were like having sex with me and like no one believed me, and I was like. And I think from that, I became like a compulsive liar when I was like younger, because I was just like, oh, nobody believes me anyway, so I'll just like lie about everything. So I was like lying about like stupid stuff, like, oh, my dad's super rich, like just like crazy shit. And like I had to go, like it was a long time. I was like a compulsive liar for like a long time. And then I finally like, but like no one believed me. No one believed me at all. Like I remember I was going to class with like this teacher that was like forcing himself on me and stuff, and I was just like, how does no one believe me? The principal, like nobody. It was like really weird. And so I think from that, like,
did that guy eventually did anyone eventually believe you?
Not funny, but like my 6th grade teacher, yeah, I talked about it on TikTok. The one that used to molest me would play like heads down, and he'd come around and like grab my breast and like put his hands on my face. He did get arrested. His name was Mr.
Because of you or because of other incidents?
So someone else came forward. I never did.
Gross.
But he had child porn on his computer at the school.
Oh my God. Nobody
Mr.
believed
Riney,
you?
Byron Middle School. And I did say something originally, and like no one believed me. It happened again my 8th grade year. No one believed me. And I was just like,
bruh. But
that guy did. He did get arrested, and I don't know where he is now, but he did. Yeah.
Your parents didn't believe you?
I didn't tell my dad because we weren't close. My dad was in California when we lived in Illinois. And my mom, I had issues with my stepdad, so that was my main focus. Well, not my stepdad, one of her boyfriends. And so that was my main focus at home. And then I tried to say stuff, and then I was just like, oh, I'm not going to say anything.
Ugh,
my mom worked 4
horrible.
jobs, so we were by ourselves all the time. Like, she worked the country club. She was a bus driver. She was a substitute teacher. Like, she worked, like, so much. And so, like, her boyfriends would be home or whatever. But it was bad. It was, I thought if, like, my own, like, principal doesn't believe me, like, no one's going to believe me, So.
You're not a pathological liar anymore.
Pathological? What's that?
Or you said you're a chronic liar.
Oh, like you think I'm lying about this now? No, I'm not lying about it.
I just am asking because I know people are going to be like, she admits she's a pathological liar, and you can't trust anything she says.
Like when I was younger, but I'm not now. I don't lie. I make a really conscious effort to.
I believe everything you say. I don't think you're a liar.
I think it's super.
I think.
Yeah.
Some people are super honest. I think you're super honest. I actually believe everything you say.
Yeah, I don't know, because lying got me in a lot of trouble, like really early on, like when my adult life. So I had to stop. Like I had to find a way to stop because like I couldn't. But it was stuff like. But then, because when real shit did happen, so like my dad, for instance, like something real did happen where I had like an overdose in my apartment when I was like 19, and my dad like came and got me, like, but we weren't talking for a long time because I was constantly making up that I was like, I'm gonna die one day, dad, like watch, I'm gonna overdose. And so like I kept saying this, and like it was all whatever fake, and then one day it happened, and my dad did come get me, and it was like whatever, but it's like I had to realize, like, he's like, you have to stop lying because like I don't know when you're in trouble, when you're not. And so like, again, this is going a whole other thing because like I did have issues with lying or whatever.
Was that a wake-up call, like that moment where you're like,
early on I stopped the like lying thing, and but overall in general too, I never really, to me, like assault, rape, like that kind of stuff, like to me, I didn't know what rape was. I thought you had to get those like someone had to beat the shit out of you to be rape. You know what I mean? Like I thought you had to have like bruises and shit. So like anytime that happened to me, I got raped twice on Hollywood Boulevard, like coming home from work. I worked at a place called Neighborhoodies. Like I didn't know it was that. You know what I mean? So to me, I was like, oh, just bad luck. You know what I mean? Or even like my teachers, I was like, oh, it's just normal. Like, you know what I mean? Like I just thought it was all normal. So like I never even made up that stuff. You know what I mean? I don't know. It was just like weird. But the Shane thing, again, because we open about everything. And when I say everything, like his childhood trauma, like he knows everything more than my own parents. And so when he's like, I just...
He didn't know if what you were saying was true.
but I just like have never lied to him, and like he is like I think the one person I thought like knew I told him the truth with everything. Like he never questioned anything. Like if I told him something, he took that as truth because I never lied to him. My mom and my dad I've lied to, so I get their trust issues, but I've never lied to him, so it just kind of sucks to like lose that person because and to also just like think that I lied about this of all the things I told you, like you're just like I didn't choose to believe that. Like it just felt and then I thought maybe that's real. Maybe he didn't believe me because people do say I'm a liar online, and like that's why I don't know. I used to didn't open about stuff. I'll keep talking if people think I'm lying, whatever.
So Trisha, I think it's interesting because she says that Shane says he's an empath and he can't really say that and this and that. Well, I think he can. You can be aware of whether or not you have empathic tendencies. I have a lot of empathic tendencies. But here's the thing, guys. We can also have traits of narcissism and sociopathy on different levels. In fact, when Dr. Drew was on there doing those tests, he was even saying that. He's like, I can have a trait here, but it doesn't mean I'm a full-blown this or a full-blown that, right? And I just think it's funny that I think it's a very narcissistic thing for Trish to be like, oh, well, he says he's an empath and he can't say that. And then she says he's not an empath. He's the actual narcissist. And then you hear her actually say, I'm a narcissist and maybe we got along so well because he's the empath and I'm the narcissist. And typically we go hand in hand. Well, Trisha, that's a very toxic combination. And typically the person that's being hurtful is the narcissist. So you don't realize it. But in your nonstop babbling, and that's not even a diss, I babble all the time. And sometimes this can happen to me. But in her just nonstop babbling and not even thinking about what she's saying, and I'm not saying she doesn't think about it, but in this case, she literally outed herself by saying, I'm the toxic person. He's the empath, and I'm the toxic narcissist. Crazy. I also want to point out, guys, one of the big traits about narcissism is lying, manipulation, exaggerating. I don't know what else to say. But she keeps making these videos, and that's fine. It's mean and it's bullying, and that's why I keep speaking up and showing you guys the other perspectives. Now, here's the thing. People keep saying I'm writing so hard for Shane. I don't know if Shane did all these things. And you know what? At the end of the day, when it comes to this stuff between him and Trisha, I'm almost at the point I don't care. Because at the end of the day, this all sounds like stupid, petty stuff that he and Trisha should have worked out privately. He tried. And as much as I know people want to think Shane and Ryland are the devil and Jeffree is awful, and I'm not saying that they're not because I don't know them, but let's think logically. The people that are acting like adults and doing what psychologists would tell you to do in this situation are Shane, Ryland, and Jeffree. They are being quiet, respectful, and even Jeffree, we can argue his intent, we can argue how it came across, but he openly in public didn't stand by this stuff, fired the guy and told Trisha, I've apologized for what's happened, call me if you want to talk about it privately. To me, that at least shows, on some level, Jeffree is actively making changes. Whether or not those are super sincere, I'm not trying to say they are or they aren't. But isn't that interesting? Shane bad, Jeffree nonstop bad. I guess both are now just insanely evil. And yet they're the ones doing everything in the respectful manner in this. And Trisha is doing everything she can to be as destructive as she can to both people. So I guess we've all just thrown psychology away because popular narrative, just like when Tati Westbrook said James Charles bad, we all jumped on that. And I just feel like that's what I see happening. And I feel bad. He is in a situation where he can't do any right. Oh, and I also wanted to point this out to you guys. My titles are sarcasm. Number one, I find it very interesting in the algorithm. You cannot say anything negative about Trisha or the situation because it doesn't get seen. However, you shoot up in the YouTube algorithm if you speak highly of Trisha, especially if you are putting Shane down. It's crazy what a difference. I've tested it. I have another YouTuber I know. We've tested this. So this is sarcasm. And it doesn't mean I'm condoning or saying Shane is perfect or Shane is this, or Shane is that, or I'm so team Shane. I'm saying I'm looking at common sense, and I just feel like, you know what? Common sense matters. Social etiquette matters. And I get worried seeing Trisha Paytas gaslight a bunch of people into thinking, you know what, it's totally okay to disrespect, to have no privacy for anyone and air out everything anybody's ever told you because you are upset or for attention or for money. But then she says she doesn't take dirty money, but yet exactly what she is doing, she says she doesn't do. She is creating dirty money. She is getting money by bullying somebody. And I just don't like it. And I don't want to see a world where we have generations of people think that this is how you're supposed to act. Okay, guys, if you like this video, please help me out and give me a big thumbs up, like the video, subscribe, and hit that notification button so you know when I upload. Also, leave a comment. Tell me what you think. Y'all know I love to hear what you guys think. As long as they're respectful, you're always welcome here, even if we disagree. Please share this content with people you might think that like it. I'd love to reach as many people as possible. With that, I have more coming. Stay tuned, because this situation seems to get sillier and sillier and more progressively ridiculous, and I'm gonna be here for it, because this is now my job. Because this is what my body allows me to do. But I'm trying to have fun with it, and I hope you guys are too. Okay, guys, take care. Bless things to the next video. I'm wishing everybody lots of love, hugs, mwah, and always kisses. Bye, guys.